Yeah, so I'm just gonna go over assignment 8 today. If you have any questions, feel free to hop in. This is more just like a Q&A session. We covered recursion the rest of like this twice this week, and assignment 8 is on recursion. Um, so I'll just kind of go over it real quickly and remember that assignment 7, here's schedule. Assignment 7 is due this coming Monday. And then assignment 8 will be the following Friday. So I'm going to assign it today, but then it will be due the following Friday. Okay. And then next week, it looks like we have another day for recursion. Um, but I may go ahead and get into generics a little bit sooner because generics, I think you guys are already using generics. So I just want to go ahead and cover that so that you understand that concept. And then we'll dig into data structures. And that generics and data structures are really the last two topics that we're going to cover. The rest of the class will be kind of review, final review, test review, that type of stuff. Okay. So, so yeah, feel free to hop in if you have any questions, but I'm just going to go over assignment 8 today. Okay. Assignment 8, this is using recursion. This is due 1 week from today, next Friday. Um, and just the same way that you've been doing your previous assignment, submit a pull request. And some of you have already messaged me about feedback that I've given you on your previous pull request. If you do an update, I get an email every time you do a push to your branch, but just shoot me a Slack message and I'll review it. That'll remind me to review it again and give you more feedback on it. Okay. So assignment 8, let's just walk through it. So this one is actually two problems. So the first one is write a recursive method that parses a binary number as a string into a decimal integer. Okay, so I give you a method header there, and then write a test program that prompts the user to enter a binary string and displays its decimal equivalent. Okay. I honestly don't care if your test program prompts users to enter in a string or if you just write a main method and you yourself within the program write the string out itself. Okay, as long as you have some sort of test main method that can actually test this method. So the idea behind it is you're taking in a string, but the string itself will be a binary number. So 110, just zeros and ones basically. Recursively, you have to take that binary number and generate the decimal equivalent. Okay. So this is using, and understand this, in order to get any credit for this assignment, it's not just solving the problem, getting getting a decimal number from a binary, but you have to do it using recursion. So the whole point of this assignment is to test what your knowledge about recursion. Okay. So think recursively first instead of just, thinking about the solution. Or, I mean, think about the solution, but then think about how you can transform it to a recursive solution. But either way, it has to be a recursive solution. Remember the two things: you have to have a base case, and you have to have a recursive call that puts you in, that reduces the problem, and puts you in the direction of your base case. Okay, so that's the first one. And then the second one is write a recursive method to print all permutations of a string. For example, for the string ABC, permutation is, and then all of those things, okay? So I've kind of given you a little bit of helper kind of hints there. So what I did in my solution was I actually had two methods. I overloaded the method. One was display permutation. It took in one string. And then the second one was display permutation, and it took two strings. The first method was the actual method call, but it simply invokes the second method. That's all it does. And you pass in an empty string and the string itself. And what that allows you to do is then have a string that you can place your permutations in that you can test with. Okay. And so the second method uses a loop to move over a character from S2 to S1 and recursively invokes it with a new S1 and S2. The base case is that S2 is empty and it prints S1 to the console. Okay. And then write a test program that like I said, the user, you don't have to have one where the user enters the input. Just have one where it just at least displays all the permutations. Okay. So, like I said, in order to get any credit, it has to be, you have to use recursion. You have to use recursion, okay? And then same thing, submit a pull request. I don't have any like tests or like format files up here, so you can create one Java file and do both, or you can create, one Java file per problem and do it that way, whatever works for you. Just on your pull request, remember that the only thing that can be on your pull request are files that are associated with your assignment. So just remember that. Don't include previous assignment files in there. But I know we're kind of fuzzy on it, but make sure before you get started, you check out master, then do your assignment, and then do your branching and all that stuff, okay? Don't branch off of an existing assignment branch. That will cause issues, okay? Questions? Everything seemed pretty straightforward. If you have questions, obviously you hit me up on Slack. If you want to do like a video conference, schedule a time for us and we can do that. That's on the website. And then all your recordings will be available as well. Just kind of give you like a heads up for the rest of the semester. So you got assignment 7 due Monday, assignment 8 due Friday, and you got one more. Programming assignment 9 is your last one. You have a test 3, and then you have final exam. Okay. Final exam will be a GitHub classroom link where you clone the whole, you click on the link, it clones a repo, does all that stuff to your computer. You do the assignments, you'll do all the assignments on one branch and submit one pull request off of that. And then that will be your final exam. Okay. Questions?
For assignment 7, what would you say is the best code example to look at?
Okay, let me look at that one. Good question. So for that one, let me pull that up. I'm pulling up my 202 repository now. My computer restarted. So for that one being Java FX, well, I can't scroll. As soon as I can scroll, I'll show you. Okay. So for that one, I would look at the example 1 package. Let's see. So button counter 2 is going to show you how to, this gives you a good example of actually extending application, gives you a start method and what your main method is. So this gives you a good template for it. And then it also shows you how to create an event handler at the bottom. So that will allow you to kind of see what event handling looks like. Let me see, button counter 3, that's inline. Control circle. Let me just make sure. The So one of the things that you have to make sure for the button counter, or excuse me, not the button counter, but for assignment 7, is that you're actually doing, so this is set on action. You need to do something like button set. Here we go. So you see how you have all these different ones. So on assignment 7, you're actually going to do like set mouse clicked, like down, it will turn blue, and then released, it will turn black. Like, so when you click it, it'll be blue, black, blue, black. So you're actually going to do something like set mouse clicked, new event handler. Here you'll set blue, and then you're also going to do something like set on mouse released, I think is what it is. Oh, sorry, it's not mouse clicked, it's set on mouse pressed. There you go. So you're actually going to have 2 event handlers. You're actually going to have like 2 event handlers for assignment 7. So it won't be like on action. On action would be, a full clip. So this would be something that you're looking for assignment 7. So this one is a good example, any of the button counters, because that'll show you how to kind of like get stuff set up and get, your VBox pane and that type of thing. Now you'll have to modify it a little bit to get it set the way you want, but that would be a good starting. And then look at this. Does anyone see what I see? So I made whenever I created a repository, I actually checked in the solution. So you only so if you're a smart person, you still have to check it in, but there is a loan calculator available in your repository. So I'll just leave that there. So yeah, I would look at button counters for the first part of assignment 7, and then loan calculator. It's in there. It's in there. Let's see, where's that? There's that code that I put in there. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions?
Yeah. Can you go over lambda expressions again?
Lambdas. Yep. So I'll go over all of them again, actually. So I should do them right here in line. So for button counter 2, there's 3 types you can do it. You can do a inner class, an anonymous inner class, or a lambda expression, right? So this is an inner class. Inner class actually has a name. So it's a named class, and it looks just like but it's just a smaller version of one. And so whenever you wire up this handler, what you would actually do is you would actually create a handler. So you would do something like button set on action new button handler, right? And so that is, you're telling this, on this action, I want you to use this event handler, which is this inner class, okay? So that is a named inner class because it has a name and it implements, okay, right? This is a anonymous inner class. So literally what you're doing here is in the method, like the argument body here. So this is where it starts. You're creating a class inline essentially, but you're not giving it a name. So you're just saying on mouse pressed, here's my event handler. And since I have to override a method, I'm just going to do it inline. So you can do that. So that is an anonymous inner class. Lambda expressions is basically taking it a step further. Lambda expressions at a high level, basically a lambda expression is you're passing a method or a function as a parameter. So instead of passing a value or a type or like an integer, double, or some class type, you're passing a function, like a literal method. So lambda expressions in Java, what they've basically done is, here's an example, is they've said on action requires an event handler, right? So you can see that the type it requires is an event handler. Well, if I go to event handler. Event handler is labeled as a functional interface. And a functional interface is basically an interface with one method. It is a method that does one thing. So in Java 8, they said if you have a functional interface that is a type, why not just pass the method itself rather than creating a type, creating a class, for extending the functional interface, implementing it, and then creating it in line? Why not just pass the method itself? So that itself is a Lambda expression. Is here, they've took out all the fluff and they just said, this is the functional interface that you need, which takes an event, and here's the actual function that we want to process. So it's literally the same thing as passing a class with an interface type with one method, but they've just took out all the fluff and they said, why do all of the adding of the types and all that? Why not just pass it directly? Does that make sense?
Yes.
You'll see this in like functional languages like Node and stuff like that, where there's packages called Lambda, and it's literally just you pass functions, you pass functions, you pass functions. Java being an object-oriented language, you're used to passing objects. Well, they basically took a little bit of the functional syntax and bundled it into their stuff. But that's all you're doing. So for example, like what I did here, and IntelliJ will help you with this. So what I did here was an anonymous interclass, and you see that this is grayed out. If you do like, I think it's like if you hover over it, it says anonymous, blah, 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 it can be replaced with Lambda. You can literally just click on this and it'll redo it for you. And it's the same thing. So IntelliJ helps you kind of find out where that stuff is. Cool. Any other questions? All right. Well, like I said, I'm available for video chat or just Slack messages or anything like that. Like if you just have some code that you want to ask questions about, you can shoot it to me in Slack and I'll review it and all that good stuff. But if not, we'll cut it short today and have a happy Friday, even if you can't get out of the house, whatever. All right. See everyone Monday.